Hello and welcome. My name is Promise Odera Honor. Today we are quickly going to look at senior citizens, their welfare, and pension slash gratuity payments. The reason why this is important is that your senior citizens, is they are vulnerable to an extent, and also they are protected. Um, in senior crimes, you will see that they preserve them, they look after them, provide carers for them, provide old people's homes for them, and make sure they are well looked after. They are respected in the community, and they need them. It's healthy for the society. It's healthy for the community. They are our grannies. They are our mommies and daddies, grandparents, and it's good to have them around for the longest time as possible. And what we found out is that in most countries now, in civilized countries or in most developed world, uh, you find out that the population of the senior citizens are more because people tend to live longer. But then when you look at Nigeria, I don't think that is the same. I don't think people in Nigeria still live long because of so many issues, especially with as regards to healthcare. So, what should be the best practices today when it comes to our senior citizens' welfare? First thing first, we're going to start looking at somebody who has worked for long. Start from government jobs, teachers, for example, which is one of the most common civil service. Somebody has worked in the local government all her life or all his life, gets to a pensionable age, and you find out that government is owing them pension. This should be really, really frowned on. This should be really, really discouraged. The government have no reason whatsoever to sort of withhold people's pension and gratuity. If anything, they're supposed to be well looked after, make sure they are in healthy conversations. Because the thing is, it's easy to forget those people because they are not active, they are not coming out to shout or to scream on social media. It's easy to just overlook them. But they are the very integral part of the society. They are there to sort of pass knowledge, wisdom, tradition, culture down to our children or ourselves and then our children in turn. So we're supposed to look after our senior citizens. During COVID, the whole world we lost a lot of a good number of senior citizens because of COVID, because their immune system are not as strong as young people's. And you find out that some countries that have good number of senior citizens in their population, they sort of lost um, a good number of them. One of those countries being Italy. I think Italy has the highest number of senior citizens because of the way they are well looked after. They live a healthy life. I think Italy has free healthcare as well, just like the UK. And the UK also have a number of senior citizens, and when you look at how they are cared for here, when you're a senior citizen here, I think after the age of retirement, you get free transportation. If you need carer, you get carer provided. They don't really pay. They don't pay TV license. They don't pay a whole lot of bills. They don't pay. I think they don't pay council tax even. And these are ways to support and make sure they enjoy their retirement because you've passed that active age. You've done your bit in the society. You've worked all your life. It's time for you to rest, and that is what pension is all about. But you find out that in Nigeria, even government workers, which are governments and governors and what have you, overlook that there will be a time they will get to these pensionable ages, and they don't do the needful. They don't pay the staff. They don't pay the pensions and gratuity of these government workers. And this is why a lot of people choose not to work in the government because at the end of the day, when they finish this work, they know there's no reward. How can somebody give 20, 30 years of their lives to service and they're not even sure whether they're going to be paid pension? And sometimes they rely on this pension to be able to send their children to school. So the children are told that, I didn't get pension. And, them themselves will grow up and they will not want to go into government. But then, had it been that governments also look after their parents, then the parents will know, okay, I'm getting my pension, and then tell their children, this is how I'm surviving you, or this is how we are surviving, or this is how I'm putting you through school. So they would know, okay, there's reward in serving the government or working in the government sector. So it's very, very important that we do understand the import of these things and do them. We need to preserve the life of our senior citizens. We need to make life easier for them. Whenever you see an old person or an elderly person, you need to give them your seat. If it's in a motor or like a public transport, you need to give them your seat. As well as that, you need to show some kindness, show some love. Sometimes they can be lonely, they can be forgotten, especially if they don't have children or their children are not nearby. So we need to sort of do like community, services to support them, visit them, have a chat with them. Sometimes they can behave like kids when they are getting older. So you have to be very patient with them. So we need to do these things to sort of preserve them. We need to organize events that they will like. Most of them tend to go to religious places a lot, church and all the rest, because that's what they probably give most of their time to. So we have to support them, make sure we provide for them, recognize them whenever they are there, and make them happy. So yeah, so it's quite important. I mean, during COVID, I don't know if Nigeria actually reached out to the old people, especially those in the village and rural places, because even those in the city didn't even get any palliative. So I wonder what happened to those in the village. And these are not supposed to be so. I mean, we're supposed to look after that population because very soon everybody is going to get old at one point or the other. And no matter how much you have, you probably need somebody to help you stand up or help you get into a car or help you do one thing or the other. So we need to understand that we have to serve our old people in the country or in the communities for us also to be served in turn. So that is very important. Well, there's a difference between gratuity and pension. Gratuity is what an employer is paid at the end of his employment. If you've been there for a while, and it's probably terms of your condition agreement or contract, they can pay you that money. Most government workers are supposed to earn this gratuity, but then what we see is that when you finish working in Nigeria, it's always stories and stories. And when they come on TV, they will tell you, oh, there was a mistake. Oh, they some even claim they've paid the money. I remember one woman came on channels and she was meant to be paying this pension. She claimed that some people, that their account number was not going, or they've paid the money and it's not received, and they blame it on the system or blame it on technology. And these things happen because people don't really care. They rather just eat the money and just tell stories to these old people, which are really, really wrong. So these are things that we expect the government of Nigeria to do. These are not things that we are inventing. These are things that have always been there. And at some point, corruption has made politicians not to do what is needed, of them, to do the needful. They are supposed to pay pension. They are supposed to look after the elderly, because one day or the other they're gonna be elderly as well. Sometimes you hear about veterans. You hear about popular celebrities who have done so much accomplishment, but because of old age, they are not as active as they used to. And ordinarily, some other places they are well celebrated, well looked after. But then when you see them in Nigeria, they will be like people who are asking for help and alms. They will turn to online beggars, and that is purely because we don't have a system whereby we support our elderly. We have welfare for those who are not, who are incapacitated or who are elderly or who are disabled. So you understand that you become active, but then when you are old or when you're getting older, you become less active. You start having all these common black issues like rheumatism, diabetes, and what have you, joints pain, knee pain, and these are common. And eventually, when you start going through this, you would expect that your working hours will start reducing, no matter how strong you want to be, to affect your work output, and that's when your income will drop, and that is when these guys need support. But then you hear like all these 800 million they are claiming they are going to get to help people that are poor. You see how much they've given you in the past. Every time they say they will look into accounts and pay everybody that have less than 5,000, and then nothing happens. They don't send no money. They probably share it to whoever they think is dim enough to get the money, and that's it. So we don't show enough love to our citizens, and in turn is affecting our loyalty to the system, our patriotism. People prefer to go and work for other foreign governments, even when they are old. You see an old person here in the UK or abroad, you tell him to please go back, and they're asking themselves, go back and do what? So they prefer to die out here in abroad than go back home. But you're supposed to go back home and rest. Even when they've built houses and built properties, they still don't want to go back because the system does not appreciate them, does not even recognize them. And this is really, really shameful. This is really bad. You go to the villages, you see the old people, and they're always tattered, no clothes, no nothing, no welfare, nothing. It's like nobody cares about the next person in Nigeria, and that's really bad. And it's not the function of the society to start raising money to give to old people or whatever. It is meant to be a function of the government. The government is supposed to provide schemes and provide welfare facilities for the elderly. Tax those or even ask for philanthropists. I mean, in Nigeria, there's so many foundations, and people don't even see how they channel these monies or where they go to. So, we should have a proper record of all the old people in our communities, have a scheme of looking after them, have a scheme of, sometimes they're encouraged to do exercise, yeah, because exercise helps their mental health, it helps them to be stable so they will not be falling. They are well looked after, their medical care is taken as priority. But in Nigeria, nobody cares. Government don't even care. If you have a small boy that bought a new car, you probably splash water on an old man. And these are wrong. And we still believe in the African culture that when an old person prays for you, that it works, or when he blesses you, it works. So you find out that the only time old people are important in Nigeria, in our culture, is probably when you want to get married and you need their blessings. And it's wrong. And some people leave it to their children. Oh, your children's supposed to look after you. You know, it's not supposed to be so. I mean, every old person in our community is seen as, part of that community, and also seen as, a stock of people that we're supposed to preserve. Just as we look after children and kids, we're supposed to look after old people. We need them in the society, they help the society, and we're supposed to protect them because they are more in a vulnerable stage, like I said earlier, and they are easy to sort of fall sick and all of that. So we're supposed to look after them. If you know anyone that does not have children but is under age, assist them, help them. It's easy to neglect them, like we said. Most of them don't have iPhone or smartphones to sort of watch what we watch on social media. So sometimes what they need is to have a chat. Visit your village once in a while. Don't go and forget your society. Sorry, and forget your where you come from. A lot of people don't pick the phone up and speak to their parents, and it's wrong. You come abroad or you come to a city and you're living in a city and you forget your family. You forget your mom, you forget your dad. These are people that cleaned you up when you are nobody, when you are a baby. These are people that look after you. So we're supposed to take that opportunity. Some people see it as opportunity. I remember once when I was telling somebody, oh, my mom asked me for money a lot, blah, blah, blah. He said, I wish my own mom was around. I wish I still have my mom. I would be happy to spend. And that's the truth. A lot of people miss their parents. Like, I lost my dad when I was young. I wish I could have my dad when I'm older, when I got married, when I'm a man, so I can have some particular discussions with them. So people have all these parents around and they don't even appreciate it enough. So we need to look into this and find a way to appreciate our elderly ones and buy them what they love. Sometimes all they need is to hear your voice, hear the voice of your children. They are always sick. Most old people are sick. Just ask them, how you faring, how you keeping, hope you're keeping strong and all of that. And when you do that, you probably don't know about the blessings and prayers they will pray for you. We help you even when you are old as well. Somebody will look after you. Do you understand? So government is supposed to play a role, and us as individuals we're supposed to play a role. Supposed to understand. Some people, when they are walking and they see another one walking before them, they want to just walk past and push the person down or out of the way because they are walking slow. No, you have to be sympathetic to them. You have to help them. Ask for assistance. I remember when I was a kid, we were taught that when you see somebody coming back from the market and he's carrying something big, you offer, Mommy, can I help you? It doesn't have to be your mom, whoever. There's that community parenting that is encouraged then, as well as being a child for all. But these days it's like we've thrown culture out of the wind, and everybody is, oh, don't touch my child, oh, don't send my child errand, oh, my child is not your maid, and all of that. So people tend to stay on their own. Children don't understand the collective raising of children that is supposed to be. So we need to go back to these things, and as well as our senior citizens are supposed to be appreciated, well looked after. Their healthcare is supposed to be free. It's very shameful that in Nigeria nothing is free. Absolutely nothing is free. apart from probably polio vaccination, which of course is coming from abroad, or the malaria, whatever that Bill Gates is supporting. So we need to make some things free. Healthcare above, say for example, people above 70 supposed to be getting healthcare for free. They're supposed to be getting healthcare for free. I don't know why Nigeria don't put any of these things into consideration. You can say every adult above 70 is supposed to have healthcare for free, transport for free, or have a way of giving them. Every government of the world have pension, right? Here you have pension, work pension, which is money you've been putting away, and also your employer pays pension to you every month that accumulates for when you get above the pension age to start receiving them. As well as that, you still have NI pension, which also is part of your contribution. So the state will always look after you anyway, right? So we are supposed to have these schemes in place. If we need to make everybody pay tax, everybody pay tax. But then we have to make sure we look after. These are things that other people are doing. These are best practices all over the world. Nigeria is not an exception. We are a country, like, we claim that we are sovereign, we are this, we are that, but we don't do half of what other countries are doing. And then we want our youth not to japa. How can we tell our young ones not to japa when they know that what is obtainable elsewhere is not what is obtainable in Nigeria? So Nigeria is hell. They refer to it as hell, and they refer to it as heaven. And these places they call heaven, it's not like it's really heaven. It's just these little things that I've been talking about on my page, that if we establish and if we implement, people will want to stay back in Nigeria. I've said it. Once you fix Nigeria, a lot of us that are abroad will want to come back, because the weather here is not great. Nigeria has everything. We have human resource, natural resource, and we have weather. Our weather is great. We don't have any tsunami or any natural disaster. We don't have any tornado. We don't have any earthquake. Probably erosion, because we don't have proper drainage system. But if it is our own making, if we drain our gutters and stuff and have good way of waste management, things will be good. Nigeria has potential to be a very bright and lovely, wonderful country, a beautiful country. But then our corrupt leaders, who are very myopic, are busy tearing it down and destroying it. So please, let's keep sharing these videos, speak about it, have conversation, discuss it, comment under. Let's do things that are more educative as a people. Let's keep building, Shout out to everybody who have been trying to positively, make an impact in the community. Shout out to the media. Arise News got an award, and I appreciate that. Thankfully, people like Rufai can be noticed and acknowledged for the good work they do, both offline and online. So, more people are there doing whatever they are doing in their own capacities, and we need to encourage them. This is our time. Leaders of tomorrow, this is our year, this is our prime. And we need to collectively work together to get Nigeria to where it is. And we need to show some empathy, show some love to the next man. That's the moral basis of the Bible. I don't understand why a lot of people think it's okay not to be emotional or empathic or sympathetic to people. No, we're supposed to still have that part of us. Be humane, you have some humanity in you. So yeah, I'm going to stop here. I hope you got the point by now. These are things that governments are supposed to, and especially local governments. These are people that are on the local level. Your communities. The local government is supposed to have a way of reaching out to the young, to the old population, making sure they are well looked after. And like I said, one of the biggest problem of older people is sickness. Probably they need malaria, or they need malaria vaccination, or probably drugs, or they probably need things for their eyesight. And I know some people in their own capacity are probably getting some help abroad and shipping things down, like glasses and all of that. But these are things that government is supposed to provide for us. And Nigeria has money, for Christ's sake. Just that mismanagement and corruption have been destroying us. And it's not like corruption is not everywhere in the world, but it's the quantity of it. That's what Mr. Peter B said when he was in Oxford. Corruption is everywhere, but it's just the rate. It's like the amount of corruption. Nigeria is too much. It's way too much. We have more evil people than good people. We have more corrupt people than straightforward people. That's the problem. Elsewhere, you have more good people. You have more straightforward people than corrupt. But then when the corrupt people overshadows the good, in fact, 90% or 95%, then it becomes a worrying problem. So whilst we're hoping on the judiciary to do the right thing, we're all keeping our eyes on the legal cases. We know INEC have been charged to bring all the proofs. Hopefully they will bring all the proof. We're also following up the Shenkuti issue. Of course, the police will see it as another opportunity to met more damages to the Kuti family, like they always done over the years. The guy should have always known that the police doesn't like his family and avoid slapping the policeman. But the deed is done. What can we say? We saw another boy that the police was using metal rod or bat rod on or something. So yeah, police have not learned their lessons from NSAS, so we still have to keep shouting, end police brutality. And hopefully one day we get reasonable and sensible people. I think they are making efforts, the police force. Yeah, let's keep shouting, and hopefully together we'll get Nigeria to a better place. And another bad incident that happened in Anambra State where the US convoy was attacked. You see, these things have been happening. Southeast is not protected. It's not safe. You know, when we come back, we are told not to stay anywhere in the Southeast. And this is, if you don't look at this issue, it keeps growing. If you don't nip it at the bud, it keeps growing. Now, Southeast is like you are in the north, whatever. Nowhere is safe. And we're praying it doesn't get to Lagos. Thank you. Until next time, this is Promise. Bye-bye.